Welcome to Mornings with the Mayor. Well, we got a good informative show today. We have with us State Representative Gene DiGirolamo, who are related a little bit.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good to be with you, Gene. And we have one particular topic we want to talk about today, and we might go into some others if we have time. But the one that I want to talk about today is to do a ban on texting.
Yep.
From the state, the
Good law,
legislature.
Mayor. Yep.
First, I want to say that we have an ordinance. It's really tough to enforce because the state supersedes us. So the state is now doing that. So why don't you tell us
Well,
about
I mean, first let's give credit where credit is due. This was an issue that our own Senator Tomlinson,
right,
has been working on for a long, long time. And he actually got the bill, and it was really difficult. You would think, everyone knows how dangerous texting is when you're driving. You would think it would be a simple issue to get done, but it took a long time. Senator Tomlinson started working on this, I mean, at least over a year ago. And we were kind of back and forth between the House and the Senate, one bill, adding a cell phone ban, which I would like to talk about a little bit later.
Sure.
So there is no ban on cell phones right now.
just texting in the state.
Just text. This bill just dealt with texting.
And that's signed by the governor?
Governor signed it into law.
Okay. So you can't text in the state of
Well, it
Pennsylvania?
takes effect in 120 days. That was in the bill. So I believe the beginning of March, that's when the ban will take effect. So again, give credit to Senator Tomlinson for his perseverance.
Senator Tommy did a good job.
So we now have a ban on all forms of texting in the state of Pennsylvania. And that is also any, emails, social media, anything you do with those Blackberries or whatever is completely banned. And I think one of the issues that we were trying to work out, it is a primary offense in Pennsylvania. So the police can now stop you if they see you texting.
How would they know if you're texting?
Well, I mean, I've talked this over with Fred Harron, who's our Director of Public Safety, and he seems pretty confident that the police will be able to distinguish whether someone is texting or when someone's dialing the phone. So he seems pretty confident they're going to be able to do this. Now, again, I want to make sure we're clear. As of now, using a cell phone, a handheld cell phone, is still legal in Pennsylvania. Now, I know you have a township ordinance that makes it illegal. So in Bensalem Township, it's illegal, but across the rest of the state of Pennsylvania, it is still legal to dial a cell phone and to use a cell phone. But the texting and anything else that has to do with social media is now against the law. There's a fine involved. It's a $50 fine for the first offense. And goes into effect again, I believe the beginning of March will be 120 days.
And the second part of that, the cell phones themselves, is that something that's in a bill or not?
Well, that was one of the problems with getting the texting ban passed, Mayor. On numerous occasions, adding the cell phone ban with the texting ban, we went back and forth adding amendments, and it went out in the Senate. And, you would think, I mean, I know me and you think the same, and most of the people that live in Bensalem here in southeastern Pennsylvania, I mean, we all realize how dangerous texting and using a cell phone are. I mean, when you're driving, you have a responsibility. Your full attention should be doing what you're doing, and that is driving, especially for young people. I mean, for old people too, but especially for young people. I mean, there are still, believe it or not, a large number of representatives and senators in the state of Pennsylvania that still do not want to see government involved or telling people what to do when it comes to cell phones and texting. So, I mean, that's still one of the problems that we dealt with. And they don't want government involved in people's lives.
Well,
I mean,
to the most extent, we understand that, but I mean, you have to have a driver's license.
This is about safety. It really is about safety of our residents.
When we passed it, Tom Giordano has a show right here locally, and well, it's just not local, it's up and down the East Coast, I guess. But Tom called, he was upset because of what you just said, government involving themselves in that, and we tried to explain, I tried to explain myself that I supported it for the safety reasons, and, they talk about, well, how about people that are eating when they're driving? How about people combing their hair? How about, all these other things, distractions, which I think are dangerous also. I mean, How can you comb your hair and put makeup on if you're dry? But they try to use all those things. How much does government ban? So,
This to me is clear cut. Really.
well, it is, and there's an opportunity. I have hands-free.
Yep.
I mean,
The
talk on the phone.
technology's
Yeah.
there for cell phone use. You have the
Right.
hands-free, and you have the automatic dial. Oh, the technology's there. It is my belief and my hope that at the beginning of next year, 2012, that we will be working on a statewide cell phone ban.
That'll correct it all.
Yeah,
I mean,
it will, because, and I know Ben Salem Township has a ban on the cell phone use, and I believe Philadelphia does also.
That's
But,
correct.
I think this should be something that should be uniform across the state of Pennsylvania. Because I don't believe it's the right thing to do to have people driving from Bristol Township, where it's okay to use a
And then
cell,
coming
into
in,
Ben
but-
Salem,
of course.
or, out of state, or, I think the laws ought to be uniform across the state. So that's why I think it's important that we work on the cell phone ban. I mean,
Is that something that Senator Tomlinson's also part of the
You know,
bill,
I'm-
or is
I'm-
that a new bill?
I'm not sure that's going to be a new bill.
That'll be a separate
I know he
bill.
was working on it before. I'm not quite sure if he's got a bill
Sponsoring
in
it
for
yet.
the cell phone ban or not. But again, that's something I hope that we get to the beginning of
Okay,
2012.
so beginning of March, approximate time,
Yep.
this will go
Texting's
into-
banned, yep.
Texting will be banned.
Yep, it'll be advertised in the
Yeah.
paper and everything, and I'll try to get the word out via newsletter and everything to make sure everybody knows that they can be stopped. And again, there was some back and forth about whether it should be a secondary or a primary offense. Now, for instance, seatbelts is a secondary offense in
Right.
Pennsylvania. The police cannot stop you for not wearing a seatbelt. But if they stop you for another reason, they can give you a ticket, a second ticket for not
not
wearing a
having a
seatbelt.
seatbelt,
So
yeah.
there was some talk about making the ban on texting the same thing, make it a
Yeah.
secondary offense. But there were enough of us, and Senator Tomlinson included, that thought it was, enough of a safety issue that we needed to make it a primary offense. So,
Okay, so everybody understands, there is, as of March, a texting ban in the state of
2012,
Pennsylvania.
correct.
And in Ben Salem, we have a texting and phone ban. And the state, as you think, there may be a bill coming up.
Correct.
For phones. no
I
cell
I
phones.
really believe that it's on the fast track, and that we'll get to it at the beginning of, not so
Okay.
much this year, 2011, but in the,
Well, we'll keep up to date, you'll
in
keep
the
us
winter
up to
of
date.
2012, that we'll have that ban in place, which I think it's warranted, it
Well,
really is.
it's safety, I mean.
We think about a number of years ago when this all came up, it was actually an accident that happened here in Bucks County, in the upper part of the
Yeah.
county, where I believe a young boy was
That's
killed
correct.
because
Yep.
somebody had gone through a stop sign talking on a cell phone, and that's how this issue really came up. Oh, God, I bet you it was about 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago this happened, and we've been talking about it ever since.
Well, hopefully.
Starting to become a reality.
Yeah, and the others, the technology's there
Yep.
to have hands-free. I want to switch gears and talk about something I know that you're working on very hard up there in Harrisburg, and something that the whole state's talking about, Marcel.
Oh, geez, what a big issue.
And, I mean, I know there's some issues about the safety of it, but I think maybe what we'll talk about more is the taxing of, possible taxing of the companies. And I know there was, I don't know if anything went through yet. I don't.
There's been a bill passed in the House and a bill passed in the Senate, that both of them are a little bit different.
Oh, it has to come back now.
So we're going to probably try to figure out, a compromise, I would assume. And, there's been, and this Marcellus Shale is such a big issue. We don't have it here in Bucks County.
No.
So, I mean, it's not something that we're dealing with in Philadelphia, Montgomery, Chester County. There is no Marcellus Shale. But up towards the middle of the state and up across the top, there is a vast amount of natural gas underneath this layer of shale, which they call Marcellus Shale. It's in the shale and underneath the shale. And only a few years ago did they come up with the technology to what they call fracture the shale and extract the gas. Really big deal, creating literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands of jobs. Up in Tioga County, where my best friend, Representative Matt Baker, lives, I mean, he's got wells up there, and they're employing so many people. It really is a big deal, and we want to keep the industry here in Pennsylvania. What we've been trying to do is trying to figure out what's best for Pennsylvania when it comes to accessing a fee, or maybe taxing the extraction of the natural gas. Now, I can tell you, the other states that have this, and I believe there's about 18 other states that have it.
Oh, wow.
Texas is really big, West Virginia, Ohio, Alaska has a large deposit of natural gas. Almost every other one of the other states have assessed a fee or taxed it. We want to do something that's fair and reasonable. We don't want to enact a tax or a fee that's too high, that might drive the industry and the companies out of Pennsylvania and go somewhere else. New York State also has a large deposit, although right now New York State has a moratorium on drilling until they figure out, which way they want to go environmentally, regulatory. So they have a ban right now. So we want to keep the industry here. They say there's enough natural gas, and this is really an incredible statement, to power the whole country for 50 years in the Marcellus Shale underneath Pennsylvania. 50 years we can power the whole country. There's enough natural gas.
Just for Pennsylvania?
Just in Pennsylvania.
Oh,
So
my
it's
goodness.
really a big deal. And to go out a little further, underneath this Marcellus Shale, there's another layer
yeah.
they call Utica, I believe, shale. And they think there might be as much, if not more, natural gas in the Utica, plus a layer of petroleum or oil underneath that. So, we're really well situated here in Pennsylvania.
well-
So, we're just trying to figure out what's the right way to go.
Something I want you to do to clarify, the procedure. You said it passed the House, one bill passed the House,
Yep.
one bill passed the Senate,
Yep.
but they're not the same.
No, they're not saying.
So say that procedure, how it has to go back.
Well, we passed a bill out of the House last week. It wasn't my first choice on what the fee, the percentage of the fee would be. There were some regulatory changes in there, which, to me, all the people where the townships and the counties are located, they were okay with. But what's really important, especially to us down here in the southeast, was that we got money, and I say a lot of money, literally tens and maybe hundreds of millions of dollars over the year, for the environmental programs here in the state of Pennsylvania. And some of the most popular and well-known are Growing Greener. I know Ben Salem Township has in the past gotten grants for
And
open
we're looking
space,
for 'em now?
protecting our waterway. Now, these environmental programs are almost broke or bankrupt. They're on like life support. So we really want to make sure we fund the hazardous waste cleanup fund. That's another one to clean up all the old mining and, our waters and everything. So these are important programs. They benefit everybody across the state of Pennsylvania. And we were able to get money in there that will fund these programs for 20, 30 years. So, that was important that we got that done.
That's in the House.
That's in the House's bill, yes.
Went over to the Senate.
That's over in the Senate. Now, the fee or the tax that the industry will pay was a little bit low. I'd like to see it higher than that. And so I believe the Senate bill that they passed had a higher fee, a much higher fee. So I guess what we're going to try to do now is almost try to reconcile the two bills and see if we can come up with a bill that everybody will be able
Is
to
that
agree
out
on.
of
Most
committees? The
everybody.
committees working?
They're
on
out,
this
they're,
side?
out, they're out of committees, out of the House. So the House bill now goes to the Senate, and it gets put into a committee, and the Senate bill is now over in the House and in the House committee.
And they'll work on it.
So the committees will work on it.
And then
So-
it has to pass both House and Senate.
Right. And, the governor plays a big part in it.
Oh, of
Mayor.
course they do,
he's,
sure, yeah. But I'm saying it's not a simple process that we're sending the bill over, the bill comes back.
No.
There's time involved with the
Yep.
committees and everything.
But I really believe that something's got to get done before we break for the holidays or before the new year. So I think in December, this December session
We'll
coming
get
up, that
something
we're
done.
going to have something in place. And again, the three most important parts of the bill, I think, first, that there's a local share for the municipalities and the county where the drilling is taking place, that the companies will pay them a share of money that'll help them with the impacts that they're experiencing, whether fixing the roads,
yeah.
hiring more police. Same thing we have here with the
Yeah,
casino.
right,
More
right.
police, more fire, fixing the roads, maybe taking care of some of the social problems that they're seeing. That's the first thing. The second thing is what I just talked about, making sure that the drilling companies or the gas companies are paying to help the environmental programs out, which is in the House bill. And the third share, which I thought was really important, which I'm a little disappointed with the House bill, is that I thought there should be a percentage or a state share that will benefit everybody across the state of Pennsylvania. Now, many of the other states that have these programs, some of their state share of the revenue goes into the general fund, which I think is a reasonable, thing. It goes into the general fund to help us out with our budget shortfalls or some of the programs that are, may be in danger of being cut next year. Do we have money for that? And I think that's a logical
And boy,
a
you have a lot
reasonable
of them, don't you, with
Yep.
these
Oh,
times?
gee, sure.
Well, Gene, we appreciate you coming from
Oh,
time to
great
time
to
to
be
keep
here,
us up
Mayor,
to
and,
date, because it's important to our
Yep.
constituents.
So,
that,
that
keep 'em up to
texting
date
ban's
on
a
our-
good thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
again,
we're,
make clear the beginning of March, that'll go into effect.
Yeah.
We'll try to get the message out so everybody will know.
I believe me, we'll know as soon as the first police start giving out tickets for that, the phone starts to
And
ring.
I think it's important that we get that message out
The safety issue.
to our younger
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
really, because
Well, they're
they're the ones that are, I think, for the
Yeah.
most part, are really
I'm certainly not
texting while they're
texting
driving.
anybody when I'm
I text, but I'm still trying to work my way out of the 90s when it comes to technology, so.
Yeah, it's not the farming days,
No.
that's for sure.
No,
It's not,
no.
of course, we dealt with technology then, too.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, thanks for being
No,
here
good to be here.
today.
Thanks
and-
for having me on.
And Thanksgiving is
Yeah. Happy
this
Thanksgiving to
week when
everyone.
everybody will see it, so
Yep, yep.
we wish you all a happy Thanksgiving from our families to yours, and certainly, I hope it's a good one, and I hope that everybody has food on their table for sure. And if there is someone out there that needs it, please contact the township here, and we'll try to help on that if we can. Okay, till next time, everybody, God bless.